everyone, welcome back. I hope that you have been able to do something active today to get your body moving. Today we are going to be looking at something called alliteration. Maybe you've heard of it before. Perhaps some of you have. Some of you, it might be the first time you've heard it. Either way, we're going to do some fun activities. So, first of all, we need to figure out what actually is alliteration. Well, alliteration is a series of words beginning with the same consonant sound or letter. Here are some examples. This one is what people use quite often when they're talking about alliteration. She sells seashells by the seashore. Try and say that 5 times fast. Another fan favorite that people use quite often is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Whew, that was a tongue twister. But as you can see, looking at these two examples, every single word apart from maybe one or two all start with the same letter. For the she sells seashells by the seashore, every single word started with the letter S. And with Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, whew, only 2 of the words did not start with the letter P. Maybe pause the video here and see if you can say those sentences over and over. See how well you can do. I find the Peter Piper one quite tricky. Alright, still looking at what is alliteration. Here are some other examples with shorter sentences. 7 silly sausages. All the words start with S. 8 energetic elephants. All the words start with E. And 9 naughty narwhal. All the letters start with N. And if you don't know what a narwhal is, maybe go look it up because they're quite interesting animals. Alright, here is your first activity. I want you to finish these alliteration sentences. You might do a short sentence of just 2 or 3 words, or it might be a fun challenge to see how long a sentence you can go with using words that only start with the same letter. Here are your 2 starting. The first one, you're going to start with 5. So all the words in that sentence are going to be using F. And then your second one is she. All the words in that sentence are going to be starting with the letter S. Have a go with that, and then you can move on to the next part. Okay, up on the screen I'll show you some of the examples that I wrote for the F and the S sentences. First one. 5 forgetful ferrets foraging for food. Pretty good. And she squished 7 strawberries. Right, what I want you guys to do is read your sentences out to me and tell me all the alliteration that you have used. Or you could tell someone else in your house. Go and do that now, and then we can move on to the next part. Okay, now that we know what alliteration is, we're going to play a fun little game that some of you might have heard of before called Scattergories. I know I always love playing this with the classes that I work with. It might be a little bit different because you're going to be by yourself or just with your family, but you're still going to be able to come up with lots of creative things. So here are the rules for Scattergories. In each round, you need to fill in your Scattergories list with words that start with the chosen letter. In each round, you can only use the same word one time only. So you can't be using the word silly 5 times in each round. You can only use the word silly once. You get a point for each word that you use that starts with that letter. You get extra points if you use alliteration. For example, sizzling sausages, cute cats, ripper rugby. And then the last rule is you need to have fun. What I want you to do is for each round give yourself 1 minute. That puts a little bit of pressure on and really gets your brain moving. About to come up on the screen are lots of different slides that have a list of all the different categories and the letter that each category is going to be for. So as you can see, the first one, this is the first one we're going to do, but we can use it as a bit of example. The first letter is the letter S. On the list side, you can see 8 categories. Fruits, things that have buttons, hobbies, things that have wheels, countries, things you would take on holiday, things to sit on, and pizza toppings. So for each category, you need to come up with a word that starts with S that fits into that category. So a fruit that starts with S is strawberry. If I would like to get an extra point for that list, I could say sweet strawberry. Making sense? Let's look at the other one. Things that have buttons. Interesting. I wonder if you guys can think of something that has buttons that starts with S. So I want you to pause the video here, and then you can try and time yourself for 1 minute and see if you can name all the things in the list, and make sure you're only using the words that start with the letter S. Off you go! Okay, you would have already done the letter S. Let's move on to the letter P. So this is list 2. Things that have spots, item in your room, a book title, something you wear, things found at the beach, a 4-letter word, things in a fridge, and a farm animal. You have to come up with a word for each of those ones from 1 to 8 that start with the letter P. And remember, you can get extra points if you come up with alliteration. So let's see. Ooh. Actually, I don't want to give any away. I think that you guys can do this. And when you've done the letter P, you can move on to the next letter. Okay, you should have finished the letter P. Now we have the letter L. See if you can come up with lots of words starting with L that fit for all those categories. Now we're on to letter T. And as you can see, we've gone back to list 1. So you're going to be doing the letter T, but you're going to be doing list 1, which you've already done before. But because it's a different letter, you'll be able to come up with lots of different words. Off you go! Okay, now you've done the letter T, you can do the letter H, and you can do letter H with all these things here on list 2. This is the last one. You're going to be doing the letter W for list 3. This one might be a bit trickier with the letter W, but I know that you guys can do it. Okay, so now that you've gone through all the different letters for Scattergories, that is kind of like your planning sheet. You've come up with lots of alliteration, lots of words that start with the same letter. You can now use that to do some alliteration poems. As you can see on the screen, I've got 2 sentences that's part of an alliteration poem. I'm going to read it out to you. They all start, or all the words mostly start with the letter B. I bought a black banana and a broken baseball bat. Quite interesting things to buy from the shop, but that's okay. All the letters start with B. Let's see if we can find more of this poem. I bought a black banana and a broken baseball bat, a burst balloon, a busted boat, and a beat-up bowler hat. There are lots of words starting with B. Let's see if there's even more of this poem. Alright, I bought a black banana and a broken baseball bat, a burst balloon, a busted boat, and a beat-up bowler hat. I wasn't being brainy, bright, or brilliant, but you see, my brain was boggled after being bitten by a bee. So, that is an excellent alliteration poem. I have put this example up here because you are going to be writing your own alliteration poems. Over here on the screen, I won't read it out to you. You can pause the video and you can read it yourself. You can use this poem. All the words, or most of the words, start with the letter Z. And then you can use the one that we were just reading, all starting with the letter B. You can write your own alliteration poem about whatever you would like. But all of the words that you gathered whilst playing Scattergories can be inspiration, and you can take some motivation from those words. Now, I wish that I could hear your alliteration poems, but I'm sure someone in your family would absolutely love to hear what you have written. So make sure you share your poems with other people in your house. Now, I hope you had fun with that one. Remember, we've got lots of other videos that can help you with your distance learning or learning from home. So I will see you very soon.